There are many good, even great organizations that serve vital functions within the legal profession in Alabama. The Alabama Association for Justice promotes the interest of plaintiffs and trial lawyers. The Defense Lawyers Association does similar work on the other side of the V. There are local bars and specialty bars. There are corporate counsel groups and trial advocacy boards. They all play critical roles and represent their constituents well. But there is only one organization in Alabama that looks after the profession as a whole. There is only one organization that seeks to unite lawyers of all disciplines. And there is only one association that can speak for all lawyers of Alabama. The Alabama State Bar has a unique platform and a grand mission. This association is the protector of our profession's proud history and the architect of its future. At the State Bar, we have important work to do, and I ask that you engage in it with me. Find your place, whether that is in a section that is germane to your practice or a committee that does work that interests you. We need servant leaders and enthusiastic followers. We need people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and do the work of the profession. Under the leadership of Terry and our General Counsel, Roman Shaw, and with guidance and oversight from the Alabama Supreme Court, our State Bar regulates and serves the profession in more ways and through more programs than I can possibly recount here. The scope of the work is incredibly broad, but this year it is my hope to focus our attention in two areas that are not new but which have lost our attention in recent years in the wake of a pandemic and other distractions. First, we are going to return our attention to making sure that the legal system in Alabama works for all those who need it. One of our association's core missions is to serve the public. The judicial system exists to protect rights, liberties, and property. But for the almost 1 million Alabamians that live in poverty, and for probably many more than that, the judicial system is just some faraway branch of government, and judges are just scary people in black robes. For far too long, the basic legal needs of the poor have been left to a devoted few and neglected by many. And when I say basic legal needs, I'm talking about things like a simple will, help with a child custody problem or a child support problem, a housing eviction, or an uncontested divorce. The Volunteer Lawyers Program and Legal Services Alabama do admirable work in these areas, but we can and should do more. For starters, we can use the bar's unique leadership platform to promote greater collaboration and cooperation among the many organizations that are already working on justice for the poor. We can bring more people and more resources with our 19,000 members to the Access to Justice effort. But in addition to better leadership, this year we will be launching a very targeted and specific initiative that will leverage technology to connect those in need with the resources that already exist. It will be a new Access to Justice website, and we are calling it Justice for All. The Justice for All website will be designed not for lawyers, but for those who do not know a lawyer. Resources that are now scattered across the internet in hard-to-find places will be consolidated into a single website. The Justice for All site will be a one-stop shop for obtaining legal information and accessing the court system. With easy-to-navigate prompts, a user will be able to find courthouse information, an attorney directory searchable by location and practice area, information about the Volunteer Lawyers Program, the Legal Services Alabama, free legal answers, the Lawyer Referral Service, self-help court forms, and many, many other resources. But the key to Justice for All is to bring the site to people who need it, when they need it, wherever they are. And to do that, we have developed a Justice for All QR code. QR codes are everywhere these days. They're all over this hotel. But they've not been deployed in the Access to Justice effort in Alabama to date. With the help of our 76-member board and our over 19,000 members, posters and placards and video boards with the Justice for All QR code will be disseminated throughout our state, in every corner of our state. in places like courthouses, schools, community centers, shelters, libraries, and anywhere else that someone who is seeking legal assistance or who needs legal assistance might be looking for help. By simply scanning the Justice for All QR code, they will be taken to the Justice for All webpage. It will be the new gateway to the legal system. Courthouses can be scary, faraway places. Justice for All will become Alabama's virtual courthouse door. Our second area of focus this year is not new or groundbreaking. It is rather a return to our roots, to the matter of being true professionals. And let me just stop here and say I was really heartwarmed by our senator's comments of reaching across the aisle, because that's exactly what I'm about to talk about. In order to be professionals, we must first be healthy in mind and body. Therefore, we're going to continue the initiatives of my predecessors, Gibson Vance and Christy Crow, who wisely saw the need to address the mental health and wellness crisis that is growing in our profession. Several years ago, Christy established the Alabama State Bar's first Lawyer Wellness Task Force. And last year, as you've heard, Gibson had the wonderful vision to create the Lawyers Helpline with the 5 free counseling sessions. We are doubling down on these efforts. What was a wellness task force is now a permanent committee with budgeted financial support. And the Lawyers Helpline and counseling program, as you've heard, will be an ongoing member benefit. But wellness is only one aspect of being a professional. Competency is obviously another. This year, though, we are going to focus on civility. You know, lawyering is not just a job or a vocation. We often say that the practice of law is a higher calling, one of the few true professions. But because we work in an adversarial system, being civil to one another requires an advanced degree in emotional intelligence. As technology has advanced, it has become all too easy for lawyers to sit behind a screen and practice law by sending emails to one another without ever interacting on a personal level. All too often, these emails are unnecessarily combative. Lawyering with civility demands more effort and a higher level of advocacy. When we resort to unnecessary hostility, we fall short of our calling as professionals. And the stress of dealing with belligerent lawyers is a direct contributor to the mental health crisis we are experiencing in our profession. Although we work in an adversarial system, we should be good to each other. We should be like a big quarrelsome family. We may have to argue sometimes, but we should do so knowing that we will soon break bread together. That's where we should be as a profession, and it starts with civility. I mentioned my longtime law partner, Percy Badham. Percy taught me the value of professionalism and civility. If you ever had the privilege of practicing law with or against Percy, you experienced his unique ability to connect personally with other people and to diffuse tension with humor. Percy was perhaps our bar's most civil litigator, but he was also a remarkably gifted advocate. We could use more Percys in our profession. So this year, and hopefully for many years to come, we follow Percy's example and we choose civility. We choose civility by sitting down with each other over a beverage to resolve our disagreements. We choose civility by picking up the phone instead of sending that contentious email. And we choose civility by giving each other a little grace when we inevitably make mistakes. For the next several months, you will hear a constant drumbeat emanating from the Alabama State Bar that sounds the importance of civility. It should be the culture of our bar. When lawyers from other states are privileged to practice here, they should leave Alabama with the impression that they have never met a more collegial group of lawyers than we have here. This year, the State Bar will help us all choose civility. In closing, I note that we are about to celebrate, our bar is about to celebrate its 100th anniversary as the legal profession's licensing and regulatory agency in Alabama. My hope is that this milestone will mark a transformational period in our state bar where more struggling lawyers find their way to wellness, where civility and collegiality once again become the default setting of our profession, and where the general public, including those who live in poverty, come to view the justice system as a resource that can improve their lives. We have important work to do, and we need your help. If civility or access to justice pull at your heartstrings, or if you just prefer to engage in our bar in another way, please join us in this effort. The State Bar welcomes everyone. It even welcomes a bra commissioner. Thank you.
Good job.